Would I be the asshole if I let my uncle report my car as stolen? Throwaway 'cause my step-siblings have read it, not in the US or America in general. My 18F parents divorced when I was 6. My mom remarried my stepdad Oscar while my dad remained single. I have 2 step-siblings, 21F and 19M, and one half-brother, 8M, from my mom's side. My dad didn't had any more kids. He was an active role in my life though, he traveled a lot, but we would always call and he'll come visit me as soon as he got back. I could spend months in his house since he remained close to us, so I had equal access to my schools whenever it was his or my mom's custody time. Oscar doesn't like my paternal family at all, but it sucks to suck. He always tried to boss me around, telling me that while I live at his house he was my dad, and I had to obey him. He tried to take away a bunch of the things my dad gave me, toys, clothes, tech, because I had to share with his kids. He tried to force a relationship, but I never cared. Well, my dad passed away a year ago, and just a month or 2 before that he had bought a brand new car. Since I'm his only child, I was left pretty much everything. My uncle, 25M, brought me a few things after the funeral, including the car, and told me that I should learn how to drive. He couldn't teach me before he had to be away for college. I couldn't do it, and a few months ago I started to notice my car moved. I thought it was odd because Oscar has his own, but it turns out that he had been using it because he likes it. I said that he never asked for my permission and that he couldn't just use my things, but he laughed at my face and said that I was a child and didn't need my permission, and that after all this years, I owed him. I called my uncle crying and he told me to give him a call when Oscar took the car so he could report it stolen, but I'm scared. Would I be the asshole if I let my uncle do it? I don't think my stepdad have any intention to give my car back. NTA. Your stepdad is a bully and your mom sucks for allowing his behavior. You don't owe him anything and you should let your uncle call the police, otherwise he'll keep abusing his authority over you. Just take the keys and let your uncle keep the car at his house. Not the asshole. He is stealing from you because he thinks you are now vulnerable and unprotected because your dad died. I have seen it many times. He will milk your inheritance dry under the pretext of collecting what you supposedly owe. Not the asshole. Your stepdad is stealing. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Info. Where is your mom in all this? She should be meditating between you and Oscar and supporting you. NTA. Stepdad is stealing your car. Regardless of him being the parent, the car belonged to your dad, and your stepdad had nothing to do with purchasing it. What happens if he gets into an accident and totals the car? Are you then out a car because he needs to use the downgrade he gave you because he's using the insurance money to get a new car? I would suggest finding somewhere else to keep the car until you can drive, or at least keep the keys and registration on you at all times. Might be best for the car to be towed back to your uncle's house or storage until you're able to drive it. You would be within your rights to report it stolen since it is stolen. Where's your mother in all this? You may need to take possession of all the keys to this vehicle. And be careful your stepfather doesn't try to buy insurance or title the car to himself. You're legally an adult. Legally inheritance is yours and only yours. Probably best to move out of the house as quickly as possible. Stepfather sounds abusive and like he's trying to steal your inheritance. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. But if you do that, you will need to move out. Am I the asshole for demanding my stepdaughter pay full rent and neither of my biological kids? Fake names for privacy. I have 3 kids. B, 23F, Amy, 20F, and Liz, 15F. B is technically my stepdaughter, and I only mention it because it's relevant to the story. My husband Ben and I have a deal with our children that as long as they are studying, we will pay for all their expenses and they may be at home rent-free. If they feel that college isn't for them, then they need a job. We feel it's their life and their choice, but Ben and I won't enable them to do nothing. Amy is earning a degree, and Liz is still in high school. B told us that college wasn't for her. We said okay and helped her apply for jobs. She got hired as a receptionist but only works part-time. We just asked that she pitched in for groceries, under $75 per month, and help with chores. She was not charged for her room or for water, electric bills. We also paid for her car and its insurance. B only had to buy gas. She also has all her essentials, soap, toothpaste, pads, etc., provided. She needs to follow the house rules. Be kind, respectful to every member of the house. You may stay up past 10 p.m. but be quiet since other people have work, school. Turn off devices you aren't using to conserve electricity, improve the Wi-Fi. No drugs. We don't approve of smoking, but if you want to smoke then you have to do it outside and dispose of it properly, etc. Ben and I always believed that our rules were fair and reasonable. That was all the background. Here's the reason I'm posting. In January, B approached us explaining that our occupational center was offering courses and she wanted to take them so she could become certified and get a better paying job. The tuition for the course, plus extra fees because of books and other required supplies, would come out to over $10,000. Ben and I wrote her the check because, as I said, we will help all our children with their education. We asked about 2 weeks ago if she would be having a graduation ceremony, and B replied that she didn't know. Ben and I called the occupational center to ask, so we could make sure to get the day off work. We asked for 3 different workers, who all confirmed that the course B claimed to have been enrolled in hadn't been offered at that center for years. We do more digging and discover that B had gambled away most of the money and spent the rest on weed. Needless to say, we were livid with her. We couldn't believe that she would lie and betray our trust like that. We told B that we expected all that money paid back by the end of the year and for her to pay a $400 monthly rent. If not, she's out of the house. Time to grow up, be an adult and take accountability. B's bio mom, Zoe, is calling me an asshole and trying to make it seem as if I'm the wicked stepmother and just hate B. She's saying things like I've turned Ben against B, and B can't do anything fun anymore, because of the rent rule. Ben and I feel B needs some serious boundaries. But Zoe's words have me doubting myself. Am I the asshole? Edit. I want to add some information for clarification. 1. B doesn't have a gambling addiction. She had told us for her 23rd birthday that she wanted to spend the day with just her and Zoe. She alternates this every year, so we just said okay and gave her our presents early. In actuality, B had brought 6 of her friends to a casino and the money had been spent providing gambling, drinks to the 7 of them. She had not spent close to $8,000 on her own. 2. Aside from the new rent rule, B is still only paying for her car's gas. Ben and I are still paying for the car and its insurance. She is also having all her essentials, food, water, electric bills, hygiene products, etc., provided at the house. We also pay for her phone bills. 3. B makes about $3,200 monthly as a part-time receptionist at an urgent care. B complained that now she can rarely go out with friends, buy new clothes because she doesn't have enough money. We told her tough crap because those sacrifices are part of adulthood. If she wants more money then she needs to work more. 4. She made an excuse that she couldn't find any jobs that worked with her schedule. But we told her she has the ability to do Uber, Grubhub on the side. She also always has the option to babysit for my sister or do maid, yard work for my elderly parents. 5. B protested at first about paying back the money she took. We told her that we will not press charges if she refuses, but then she will not be welcome in our house. She can pay for her own car and phone, and move in with her mother. B doesn't want to move in with her mother because Zoe shares a 1-bedroom loft with her boyfriend and B would be on a mattress in the living room. Zoe would also have to ask for rent and would not provide anything except food. 6. Zoe knows the situation but logics that since Ben and I make a lot of money that it shouldn't be a big deal. Ben and I could honestly care less about the 10 kelvins. What we care about is B lying and betraying our trust. 7. Zoe is also trying to make the situation out as if I'm only enforcing these consequences on B because she's my stepdaughter, which is not the case at all. Zoe has even gone as far as to express this opinion on social media. Not the asshole. You know you're never gonna see that money, right? B lied to you to keep living rent-free, and she scammed you out of $10,000 on top of that. I'd kick her out right now, not wait 9 months for her to cause more mischief. Particularly given that you have a minor at home. By the way, in the future, pay the tuition, residence, books, etc. bills directly rather than cutting the student, or student, a check. I'm sorry, did I read that correctly? She stole $10,000 from you? That is insane. Her mother knows she stole $10,000? You could take her to court. This isn't even like a little teenage thing. This is straight up grand larceny. Edit. Reading through comments, it's clear that American courts value this differently state to state. But in the case you're not in America, that will be different too. So the general consensus appears to be talk to a lawyer about your options first. But presumably you could get your stepdaughter to apologize in writing, and use that in court. Or draw up a contract for her to pay you back in these ways, and if she doesn't in whatever time, you take her to court. Not the asshole. This is ridiculous. You cut a check for $10K without thinking twice, because like any good parent you trust your children to do right. You were doing everything right. And she stole money to gamble and do drugs. Well done raising your children and respecting them. Your rules are very fair and balanced. Not the asshole. If Biomom thinks B is not being treated correctly, then Biomom can take her in. B is 23 and not required to live with you. Not the asshole, she conned you. I would have kicked her out. And I'd ask the birth mom to pay the $10K back or shut up. Not the asshole. Does B's biomother not understand what has happened? Either way, I'd cut contact with her or limit communication if she's not adult enough to take your side on this matter. I would have loved to have parents like you because you're not only reasonable but you're doing a damn great job at providing for your kids. B took advantage and broke your trust. There should be consequences for sure. I don't know if she will pay you back, but I hope you stick to your guns on this. Not the asshole. I was so ready to call you the A based on the title. Evil stepmother tropes and all that. But reading it's clear that this has nothing to do with bio-step relationships. It sounds like B's mother Zoe is a bad influence on her daughter. Not the asshole. Your rules seem completely reasonable and not at all controlling. She clearly took advantage of you, and since she's an adult and is not attempting to do something productive with her life, she just pay the consequences. If you were kicking her out, then you are the asshole, but since the only consequences were that she had to get a job and pay rent for disrespecting the rules, not the asshole. Am I the asshole for making my stepsister miss a trip because she had to pay for the books she destroyed? My 16F dad married my stepmom 2 years ago. She has a daughter, 16F, called Bianca. Bianca and I don't like each other. She thinks I'm a spoiled brat and that I have a princess complex, because both my parents come from money and I always get what I want. This is, by no means, true at all. While my parents bought me lots of things, I have a part-time job and I keep my grades up to earn everything I ask for. One of the things I love the most are books, fantasy, romance, crime, mystery. I love them all. My mom and I share this hobby, so we're always buying books and reading them together. I also have a Nintendo Switch and a TV at my room. Aside from my laptop and my phone, those are my most prized possessions. My sister is always asking to borrow my things, clothes, makeup, my Switch or my books. I let her use the first 3 because I don't really care, but when it comes to my books, I don't let anybody else have them. A few weeks ago she came and asked me to take 1 or 2 because she saw the guy she likes reading, The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and I happened to have that book, though I'm still yet to read it. I said no and we had a discussion because I was so spoiled to share. She asked again by dinner and I said no. Then she asked by breakfast and tried to get my dad and stepmom in. Both of them agreed with me. I sent her a few links of the book in discount and I thought that was it. But 3 days ago when I came back from my mom's house I found 7 of my books, including the one she wanted, ripped to pieces. Some big chunks of my wallpaper missing and a few posters on the floor all destroyed. It was no mystery. As soon as I told my dad NDSM they knew it was her and grounded her. She was supposed to go to LA in June for her birthday but her SM said that she wasn't gonna be paying for it and since her dad won't either, deadbeat. Then she'll pretty much miss it since some for the money will be mine to replace all the things she destroyed and the rest will be kept as punishment. She's now cursing me and calling me every name under the sun because I ruined her trip and the guy has been talking to other girl. You know you're not the asshole. Your SM sounds awesome, considering she is making her daughter face consequences for her behavior, instead of enabling it. Not the asshole. I'm glad she's being held accountable for her actions. I hope the parents look into counseling for her to get to the root of her unhappiness and jealousy. Stop lending her things. Ask SM and Dad if you can get a lock for your door, so you don't have to worry about that sort of thing happening again. Give them a copy of the key in case they need to get into your room when you're not home. Good luck. You didn't ruin her trip, she ruined her trip. Actions have consequences. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. I feel sorry for you, but it looks like your stepmom is legit and she made her daughter take account for her mistakes. That's good. Ask for a locker for your door. Not the asshole. Simple case of, you break it you pay it. The following has nothing to do with your question but please, don't share makeup. She is beginning to develop an eye infection, uses your mascara et voila, you can go to the doctor, too. Or get cold sores from sharing lip balsam, lipstick. It's a health risk. If you let her have it for Hesrelf, thank you for your generosity. But if it is a back and forth, who uses it? Not the asshole. She ruined her own trip by getting consequences for her actions. Please speak with your dad and stepmom about getting a lock for your door when you are at your mom's. Not the asshole. It's not like you're the one that's making her pay for the damage. Her mother is. You can argue your case for her if that's how you feel, but her mom is punishing her for her actions, not you. It's rare for a step-parent to punish their own child over something they have done to the step-sib. You're lucky to have a stepmom willing to do so. Don't fret over something that is out of your hands. She can play the blame game all she wants, but she's the one that is out of line, not you. Not the asshole. She knowingly committed a vicious, evil act. Whether she has any concept of what a person's books mean to someone who loves books is neither here nor here. She asked to borrow one, she was refused multiple times, and she destroyed some. In my book, bad pun, damaging a book in itself is a heinous crime. But to do it as a form of petty revenge is even worse. Personally, I don't. The punishment fitted the crime, possibly hanging upside down in the scorpion pit. But that's your parents' call. At least she got punished. Am I the asshole for firing the babysitter for being a bad influence? My wife and I hired a babysitter, Adeline, 18, for our kids, 8 months, 2 female, 4 female, 5 male, 7 female, a few months ago. Adeline is great with the kids, and she's the only babysitter that can handle so many young kids. A couple problems are that she's consistently late. It's usually no more than 5 minutes. She has been 10 and even 15 minutes late, however, but it's still irritating. Another thing is, after she gets everyone in bed, she spends the rest of the night on her phone or laptop. She never cleans up in the playroom because she claims it's always messy and she doesn't know where anything goes, and will only clean up what she did with the kids. For example, Adeline did an art project with my older 3 kids and cleaned the counters and the floor after that art project, but she didn't pick up the toys that were in the living room or do the dishes. Another problem is that her outfits can be a little inappropriate for kids so young: crop tops, shorts, skirts, dresses that are a little too short, low-cut shirts, etc. I've asked my wife to talk to her about it. I felt that it would be more comfortable coming from another woman. But she refused, even though she admitted that she would like Adeline to wear slightly less revealing clothes. My parents are in town and they wanted to take the kids on a walk. While on the walk, they saw Adeline on a run wearing a sports bra and shorts that barely covered anything. All of my kids had seen it, and we heard about how they had seen Adeline without a shirt for days. My 5-year-old has also been talking about how pretty she is and that he's going to marry her when he's older, which is completely inappropriate. I decided to fire her because of the reasons I listed above. When I told my wife, she started screaming at me because she thinks Adeline is a great babysitter and is reasonably priced. I told her Adeline is a bad influence and I don't want her around my kids, but she's refusing to speak to me until I call Adeline back and offer her job back. She even wants me to offer her a raise if she says no. Am I the asshole for firing the babysitter for being a bad influence? Update. My wife was able to get through to Adeline. She will come back for $45 an hour and we will be getting her a car. I'm going with you are the asshole for several reasons. 1. You're sexualizing the babysitter, not your kids. 2. You can't expect people to work out in parkas. Come on now. Not to mention she was on her own time. 3. She's not a maid. If it's in the agreement to pick up, sure. Get upset. If it's not, then clean your own house. 4. Many kids say they want to marry their parents, people they like. It's a thing kids say. They're kids. They have zero idea what they're saying or what it means. ROFL. I cannot stop laughing. So much you are the asshole. If you want someone to clean your home, that is a separate service for which you must appropriately pay. From what your wife said, you're already underpaying the babysitter. So I'm sure your wife is fine with her being a few minutes late. You're already getting a great bargain. I'm sorry you're such a lazy slob that you don't clean your own house. And stop ogling teenage girls, you perv. I'm thinking it's best for Adrienne that she no longer works for you. You clearly are perving on her and it is not safe for her there. You are the asshole. You're the bad influence. You're the one sexualizing and objectifying a teenager and then blaming her for it. I saw in comments she's paid $25 an hour, that's $5 a child. That's disgustingly low already, but for that absolute steal you are deluded to believe that she should clean your house. If you want your house cleaned, then hire a maid or a live-in housekeeper, nanny, but cleaning up mess that's already there simply isn't her job. The only issue is that she's consistently late, but that's not why you fired her. You fired her for what she wore on a run off the clock and in her own time. Good luck finding another babysitter willing to look after 5 kids and clean your house for $25 an hour. You are the asshole. 1. She's 18. Talk to her about the importance of being on time but cut her some slack. Ask her to show up 30 minutes earlier than you need to leave by. 2. She's not your housekeeper. If you want the house looking pristine when you get back, at least have it looking good when you leave. And even then, consider you left one babysitter with 5 young kids. That's a lot for anyone, much less an underpaid 18-year-old. 3. Get over the clothing thing. Your kids aren't old enough to care anyway, so this is a you problem. You are the asshole. 1. You hired her to watch your kids, not to clean your house. 2. You did not set dress code in the hiring process and your wife doesn't agree with setting one now. 3. You fired her for what she did outside of working hours. That's wrong on many levels. You don't own her. 4. You made a unilateral decision without your wife, and that makes you a double a hole. That is not how you treat your life partner. 5. It seems a little like you're uncomfortable because you've been noticing the teenage nanny, and instead of working on yourself you fired her for wearing exercise clothes in her off hours. Apologize to your wife. Apologize to Adeline. Face the consequence of this bad decision. You are the asshole. How much does everyone want to bet he paid her $10 per hour or less for watching 5 kids while complaining she isn't also doing maid duties? You are the asshole. She isn't your maid. She shouldn't have to clean up the mess made when she's not there. Also, what she wears on a run in her free time isn't your business, not to mention that's a perfectly reasonable outfit to wear on a run. You seem extremely judgmental for someone that's got 5 kids under the age of 10. Don't lose good employees just cause your views are stuck in the 80s. You are the asshole. How Adeline chooses to dress, especially on her own time, is none of your fucking business. Furthermore, she is your babysitter, not your maid. It isn't her job to clean up messes she didn't make. As far as a 5-year-old having a crush on his babysitter and calling her pretty? Unless you're making inappropriate comments about women in sports bras and low-cut tops in front of him, it's because she's kind and fun to be with, not because of how she looks.